Welcome to Soundbite, the podcast where we talk to interesting people in the Maritimes about their stories, specialties, and insights. I'm Caitlin Dutt, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Tim Porter. Okay, Caitlin, we have another exciting guest this week.
Yes, we do.
Daniel Allain.
Yeah,
Hi,
welcome,
Daniel.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Good.
Caitlin's been working hard on your bio, so we're gonna let her read your bio and.
Great, no pressure.
Yeah, I did actually cut it down a little bit because I didn't want to.
So let's
have a
take
long
big
resume.
30 seconds here.
Yeah.
So you were the PCMLA of Moncton East from 2020 to 2024. Also served as a Minister of Local Government and Local Governance Reform during that time. You have a long resume of government and business experience, which we'll get into with this podcast. But most notably, this past weekend, you just announced your candidacy to be the new leader of the new Brunswick Progressive Conservative Party. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be our main focus of conversation
I think so.
today.
I think that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
So Daniel, welcome to our podcast.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
I got to admit right off the bat, like I'm going to struggle with the Daniel thing because.
Did you know him as minister?
Well, no, I kind of know him as Danny, and I always have to. I know he likes to go a little more formally now.
No,
he's
not
a
whatsoever. Actually,
politician, but you were always Danny to
Danny.
me.
It's actually pretty good. Some people call me other names. So
Yeah, sometimes you're always Danny to me, and it's kind of like when Caitlin, when I go home to Woodstock, there are people that call me Timmy.
Right.
Seriously, there are.
Oh, boy.
So you kind of move on from it. So
Right,
that's
I
actually
see.
where one thing I wanted to point out is Danny and I were both born in Woodstock. Did you know
Yes.
that?
Okay,
We're
well, there you
Carlton
Did you know
County
that?
boys.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I grew up in Moncton, so.
Well, so did Daniel. He grew up. I think you grew up in Moncton too.
Yes, I did. I'm a Louisville boy.
Yeah,
As you guys
yeah.
know, I'm a Louisville boy, and yes, my dad was a customs officer in Woodstock. So I was born in the 20th of December 1970 in a big snowstorm. So the storm came out. So
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So I guess the first time I met Daniel, he was an assistant with Bernard Lord, and
Right.
I was working in comms under Lord in those days. So I kind of got to know you then. But what kind of attracted you to politics at that stage?
I think growing up, both of my parents are civil servants.
Right.
So my dad worked as an immigration officer for 42 years. Mom worked for supplying services. And my dad and I would watch Knowlton Nash
Right.
at 10 o'clock each night.
He was the news reader on CBC National in those
Right,
days.
of course.
We
of
have to
course.
catch her up. She's a little younger.
So it was, I got interested in politics that way. In October 82, the election, or Hatfield election,
Yes.
I had the chicken pox, and I watched the election with my dad.
Yes.
And from that moment on, I knew that it's interesting. Going to high school, I knew right from grade 10, I was doing my bachelor's in political science.
Right.
Nice. Were
I
you one of
knew
those like
from-
model UN kids? Or?
No, not really. I started as a young liberal, actually, and just saw the light in 95, but that's all right. But it's interesting. Yeah, I knew really soon that I loved politics, the works of government, how the system worked, and I was questioning that. So, yeah, from early on, I knew that the political sphere was going to interest me.
So 95, you were working. Did you first get engaged with Bernard Lord then?
No, so it's actually Michel Legier.
Oh, okay.
So it was the Valcourt leadership. Michel
Right.
Legier had announced that he was running. And from then on, Bernard Lord, 1997, and his leadership, I worked really hard there for. And Moncton East, we worked for the by-election 98. So
Right.
it just started, just politics. I get enthused in politics and the leadership started in 95. And then, so back-to-back leaderships in 95 and 97.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, Daniel spent some time in the Allward government as you were the head of Indomie Liquor for 3 years.
For
maybe.
3 years, yeah.
And then you kind of went into his office and you worked more centrally with David Allward.
Yep. So at that point, NB Liquor, the Blaine Higgs was the Minister of Finance. We had a specific mandate was to actually give a snapshot of what the asset was all about, because it's an asset that, like many other assets, MB Power or other crown corporations, that we questioned all the time. So we did a report to Cabinet on where the asset should go, because some people in the McKinney years were questioning if we should sell it or not. So we gave a 84-page summary to government on how to, I think the biggest one was we needed more locations for sales. We need to increase that basket. So really get more in tune with the consumer, what they wanted. And basically, I got myself out of a job. I think the main thing that came out of that is, let's not politicize this asset. Let's make sure that the next president of MB Liquor was somebody from the outside. So and that's what happened. And we've had great leadership, I think, since then. The board has a strong governance, actually. So no, I'm glad with the work we did back then.
And it seems like it's still a good source of revenue for the government.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's over 185 million or 190 million right now, plus with the cannabis, which is over expectations. I think they're in the 15 to 20 million dollars. So no, they're two great assets, and we have jobs here in New Brunswick.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I think in the intervening years, when Allward lost power, I recall you became a municipal councillor in those intervening years, and that kind of helped pave the way to you becoming a local government minister eventually. Like you seem to have learned a lot in those intervening years.
Tim, I think that's it's a great observation, and it's twofold actually. I think my years spent at the City of Dieppe as a municipal councillor, a councillor at large, it was how can I say it, from being a staffer to an elected official, you have that evolution, and also giving me the opportunity of a lifetime to work for Imperial Manufacturing.
Yes.
Going in the private sector, having that private sector experience, managing my own unit. Mr. Casey has acquired over 40 companies in his lifetime. We only sold one up to now. He sold a second a couple of weeks ago, I guess. But at that point, he had never sold a division, and we sold the division through my time. So I learned so much from a great New Brunswicker, a JA Hall of Famer, a Order of Canada. So it was a great opportunity to get the private sector field, and also have to give back and to work in my community in which I lived in. So it's been a certain evolution, and I think being Minister of Local Governance and the Local Governance Reform gave me to source that experience I got from being a municipal councillor in New Brunswick was a great evolution.
And so on the topic of local governance reform, it's been now a couple of years since, all of the amalgamations and everything. How do you feel about the outcome of all of that?
I think it's still evolving. Some of my detractors, it's fascinating when you announce that you're going for a position in New Brunswick for a leader of the PC party, and you have your supporters, but you also you identify your detractors pretty fast. It's really fascinating. And, local governance reform was something that was overdue. I think we've been talking about it for almost 40 years.
Several huge reports, the
huge
Finn
reports,
and
the Finn report, the Fitch report, the Serge Roussel had done some great work during the Gallant years. So it was just, again, it was time. Look, I was busy in 21, 22, and 23. We got things going. It was a three-pronged approach. The first one was to do the analysis, talk to New Brunswickers. The second one was the report itself. And then the third one, which is the execution, which is still going till this day. And getting the structures right was pretty easy, but now the hard work is being done. Like I was reading again this week, because these past 2 weekends, the municipal associations were here in Fredericton meeting, and they're going through their strategic plan, all the planning efforts through their planning commissions. It's fascinating to see all this coming out because we're working on it. I think the government gave them a little bit more money on the community side. So that rollout is going to be really interesting where their priorities are. Because we haven't talked about priorities. Dishing out money is really easy, but not necessarily knowing the priorities yet. That's going to be really interesting to see where it's going. So it's in constant evolution. We still have, I think, lots to do on local governance reform, and it's something that I'm going to be definitely looking at it and having those discussions, because one of the reasons why I'm running for the leadership of the PC party is my experience that I've taken from local governance reform and being in every corner of New Brunswick gives me that better view of New Brunswick and the nuances that we live in. I think the opportunities that we have, what a great province. We have beautiful places, but we have regions that don't want to hand out, they want to hand up. And I think that's the beauty about local governance reform.
So you made the big decision previous to the last election not to run. And kind of lead us through why you made that decision.
Well, I think at that juncture, nobody asked me to run.
Okay.
Nobody had asked me to run again.
Yeah.
So for me, it was... I think with local governance and what I had to do, I did what I had to do. My constituents, there was a big change with the riding boundaries and all that.
Sure.
So my riding was changing. I was looking at something different, and at the end of the day, it's like a Ross and Rachel on Friends. Sometimes you needed a break, and I needed a break.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think so, anyways. I took a break, and that's why over the weekend I decided that the break's done, and I'm ready to move forward and give back my time to New Brunswickers.
Right. So now that you are running for the leadership, how do you view where the party has been under Higgs and where it needs to move now? Like where that transition?
Yeah, that's
you seem to
it's
really
a great question,
struggle
actually.
with that.
I don't have no struggle with it because my plan and my vision for our party is to make sure that, look, the PC party in New Brunswick, the Progressive Conservative Party of New Brunswick, has a rich and great history. We've given great governments from Hatfield to Lord to Alward to Higgs. We're going to evolve. All of those governments were snapshots of the past. Now we have to move forward. The PC party in New Brunswick has always been a big tent party. Compared to the other parties that exist today, the Progressive Conservative Party has always been a big tent. We have progressive people and we have conservative people. And that's great. And I think we have to continue that discussion. But for me, it's simple. At the end of the day, the PC party has to align itself to the 5 points, which I hope that I presented this weekend. Number one, we need members. A party needs membership. So we got to go out there and get some membership. Number two, we have to work on fundraising. Fundraising is really important. It's part of democracy. The way that political parties are funded in New Brunswick are through fundraising. So let's work on fundraising. Point number three that I suggested is that we have a 49 riding strategy. It's really important that we have president of riding associations, organized riding associations, quality candidates ready to represent us. Number four, to professionalize the PC party of New Brunswick. We've got great people working with us. At one point, we had the PC fund. It's the way we manage our party is so important. Let's give the tools to our employees, because they want to be part of something new. So the PC party, we have to take care of it. And number five, I think the most important is we haven't had a policy convention since 2008. So it's been pretty much a little bit over 23 years.
It's amazing.
So it's time to make sure that we have a new policy convention. You know, the PC party we have our 10 principles that we work on, the will of people, make sure that we're fiscally responsible, that we respect the two equal communities. I don't know them by heart yet. I should. But again, we have a rich history, and it's really important that we take care of the PC party. And I think this leadership right now, Saturday we had over 500 people there, 400 and something. We put it through AI, and AI could pixelate everyone. And it was positive. We just wanted to move forward as a party. We held old faces, new faces, people from the north, people from the south, French, English, First Nations, newcomers, a lot of newcomers too. So I think that's what it's all about, and that's how we're going to move forward as a party, because New Brunswickers are expecting us to be ready by, I would say, the 1st of September 2027. You look at the Ford government, the Robichaud government, the Houston government, they all went early. The federal government, for the minority at the federal level, they could go early. So I think the PC party, New Brunswickers are expecting that the PC party be a viable alternative for New Brunswickers to support. That's where we have to go. That's where we have to get.
Do you think the style just drifted too far into like central control?
That's a fascinating question, because Donald Savoie would definitely have something to say on that with his numerous books and the way I think.
Well, you talk about that policy convention, and you talk about having to get new people in, and you talk about rebuilding structures and that sort of thing. And it sounds to me like you're talking about a party that was really controlled very centrally, and now needs to go back to a little more grassroots.
I think after each election that we went through an election, the party needs to reinvent itself. And part of my platform is to reflect, re-engage, and renew our party, rebuild our party. I truly believe in respect, responsibility, and renewal, respect for people, responsibility for fiscal discipline, and really renewing our party. Because again, there's some people that we lost in the last couple of years, or maybe the last 10 years. We got to get them back, and I think it's important that, as progressive conservatives across, that we don't be discouraged, and there is a future coming. And it's really important that we remind people that the PC party has a rich history, and we're a united party, we can do great things for our province.
Are you looking to rebuild that coalition that Bernard Lourdes had with the French and the English, and kind of Allward also kind of
well, I think in my 5-point plan, when I talk about organizing 49 ridings, that's where I want to move forward. We have to make sure that from northern to south, east, west, rural versus urban also, Anglo, Franco, everywhere. Let's get everyone together, because if we can have 49 strong riding associations, 49 riding presidents in place, we can definitely be a united party, and that will definitely help us give our message to New Brunswickers.
So something you had said earlier in this interview was that you kind of started out as a young liberal. Now you're running for leader of the PC party. Can you talk a little bit about how that happened?
Well, I think when you're going to l'Université de Moncton, and back then the ethnic vote had a significant place in voting patterns. Less today. I truly believe that people have evolved, and people are really voting for the person. And more than ever before, there's still people voting because of party affiliation, but more and more people are voting for the person. So for myself, bunch of friends were all young liberals, so I thought that was the right place to go. And at one point in my life, I just saw the principles of the PC party, and wow, that more aligns to my thoughts and beliefs. And I think meeting a person like Bernard Lord, where we're socially progressive and fiscally conservative, wow, that's what it's all about. I've evolved as a person. I think when you, what I say to people ask me sometimes, who are you anyways? What are you all about? And I said, I've got a little bit Bernard Lord into me, whereas the capacity of analysis, make sure you think things through. That's really important. David Alward was the consultor. He consulted people because people and the Sean Graham government were really critical of the premier of the time not consulting with people. So I love to consult. With Premier Higgs, I really found out the value of the dollar and how important it is. Like, really, sometimes it can be his biggest criticism, but I see probably sometimes as his biggest strength, because we always question the value of the money, or this is taxpayers' money. You just can't spend it. So my values, my family values are part of me also. My parents showed me that anytime there's a problem in the community, you roll up and you roll out your sleeves and you start working at it. So that's who I am today. And I'm blessed to have a great family, 2 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife. And that's where probably another reason why I'm running. It's I want to leave New Brunswick for my kids, my 2 girls, and make sure they want to come back here to New Brunswick to be a nurse and be a lawyer.
I'm glad you touched on the 3 previous premiers, because I would agree with you that I did see those qualities myself, in that a lot of people thought Bernard Lord was maybe a little slow to make decisions, but behind the scenes, people like you and I who were working with him, we would see that he was analyzing all the angles, and he was usually pretty far ahead on those analysis when it was guys like me, it's my job to do it, and he was kind of way out in front, kind of making sure he saw all the angles.
And there's 2 points right now. You look at insurance. Remember the 2003 election was the big insurance.
Yes.
Pretty much all the same laws and regulations on insurance haven't changed in 22 years. MB Power, we had divided MB Power back then. We put it back together, and I think some people are advocating for the same thing again. So it's fascinating. To your point, in those years we talked about those issues, and 25 years later, they're still there or coming back maybe.
And you're right about David Alward, the great consultor. But, Higgs, as he was kind of focused on the bottom line, we kind of lost some of our mojo on economic development. And, what are your ideas to kind of get back into that game?
That's a really great point, actually, because when it comes to the economy, it's not just about, yes, we need to grow, but we got to grow with purpose. And I think it's really important, because jobs are what makes people live here, right? And it's so important. And we're so diverse also. We're definitely a microcosm of Canada. And you look from the regions from La Péninsule Acadienne to Charlotte County, some people are fishing, You've got the farmers and the forestry sector. So, again, forestry, farming, fishing have been our primary sources of income for the last 250 years. Guess what? We'll have to continue for the next 250 years. We'll have to make sure that the environment is well taken care of. We talk for the First Nations. So working on our economy is definitely something even more important than ever before.
And working hand in hand with the federal government.
And what's happening down south is not definitely something to turn our head around. Right now, I have a consulting company. I'm working with some companies here in New Brunswick, and it's tough. I'm not saying that we're in a recession right now, but we could be close. Listening to people, definitely having some. They're building a lot of housing right now. I don't know if we're losing anyone. Unemployment numbers are going up. Let's be honest. Like, New Brunswickers are working harder than ever, and it feels like life is getting tougher. So you're right. We have to focus on the economy, because if we don't grow our jobs here and people can't do a life here, it's not going to work.
Okay, we've been talking to Daniel Allain, who's seeking the PC leadership coming up in the next year. And
Got 1 year to go.
Let's talk about the process.
We'll get into that right after the break. Thank you.
Talk to you then.
Okay, so we're back with Daniel Allain, seeking the leadership of the Progressive Conservative Party. So, Daniel, you're way ahead of the curve here. You've got another year before this convention. I guess, why are you so far ahead? And do you want to see someone else in the field? Like, do you want a coronation, or do you want someone else? Because we're not really hearing a lot of other names.
So let's look at the process itself. I'll comment on that one, and then we'll comment on anything else after that. But you got to remember the process. We have changed the way that we elect leaders in New Brunswick with the PC party. Every other convention, first of all, before 1967, the party membership didn't have no way or say in who was our leader. Caucus would get together with a couple of friends and say, okay, this is the guy or this is the guy. We did that for the first 100 years. I think the first convention or the first contested nomination was 67, I think. So this is the new era. So we've been choosing leaders since then. And since the last election in 2018, you could not be named from the floor. Mm-hmm. You actually the 7 candidates had to put their names in 1 month prior.
Right.
So there's a evolution. This time, we're actually not having a convention. So, we're the 20th of October today. The last date for an individual or her or himself to put their name in is the 19th of June. Mm-hmm. But people start voting on the 14th of August.
Oh, okay.
So
it's a mail-in.
It's a 100% mail-in. So the convention or the convention or the normal convention does not exist anymore. So we're doing things differently. So we'll need activation on memberships to become an elector, to make sure that when you received your ballot, people send it in. So look, those were the rules. I think the PC party did their due diligence. They did. That committee did an awesome job because I'm going to tell you, they're looking at the Liberal Convention, which was just held, the Manitoba PC leadership, the Liberal leadership in Nova Scotia. They did their analysis, and they did their job. Some people will like it, some people don't. I'm just playing with the rules. But when people say, well, it's a year from now, not really, because we have to start getting people ready, because on the 14th of August, you start voting. So today is the 20th of October. Let's say it's Christmas already. So I hope, Caitlin, you got your Christmas gifts all planned already, because
Nope.
2 months will go fast. The legislature is in session tomorrow. So these next 2 months are going to go fast. Then you start back in the new year, January.
Time
that's
flies.
why for me, it was important to have an organization. We have 5 campaign managers. I have campaign coordinators in the 9 regions. We're probably 5 per region right now. So we're getting ready, just because that's how the process has dictated to be. Is there going to be other leadership contestants? Look, I'm all for it. At the end of the day, I can't be concerned on that, because I got to make sure that I work on my campaign. And my objective, my campaign's main objective, as I told all my campaign team, is to make sure that the PC parties, my 5-point plan, that we move forward on it. Getting members, helping our party, making sure we have a great policy discussion in 2027, that we get a 49 riding strategy, and we make sure that people can easily become members of the PC party and vote. And that's our objective. And that's what it's all about. It's about, we're in the people business here, and we got to talk to people. And I hope that we have a great PC party leadership process. And again, we start voting on the 14th of August, so we need to be ready.
So word on the street is that you've been all over the province over the last summer, at least, going to all kinds of rural ridings and areas. Is that kind of your strategy to go as many places as you can and see as many people as you can in New Brunswick?
Well, for me, it's simple. I love this province. I've seen the channel in every corner, and I love talking to New Brunswickers. And anytime I can do it, I relish it. Like I said, local governance reform was natural for me. I'm glad that the Premier gave me that file because I think I'm a better person today. My strategy is to talk to people. I'm in the people business. Tim, Caitlin, everybody's in any organization these days. The biggest column is communications, communications, communications. And I think it's important for us to communicate to New Brunswickers. New Brunswickers want to be listened to. They don't want to be told to, or they want to be listened. Right now, life is not that easy, and some New Brunswickers need a hand up, and some New Brunswickers just want us to work on housing, healthcare, cost of living, fiscal responsibility. Those are the important issues right now, and that's where we have to go.
What's it like going into the Northeast right now to the Francophone regions? How are they receiving you, not just personally, but as a representative of the Progressive Conservative Party that really hasn't had a lot of reputation or a lot of engagement in the last few years?
Anywhere as I go, I get treated unbelievable. A couple weeks ago, I was in Heartland with in Carleton County. I always feel comfortable as a Carleton boy. Anytime I go in the Northwest, in the Madawaska, or in Victoria's regions or La Péninsule, people just want to talk about politics. They want to not talk about the rhetoric, but just want pure politics to see what can be. I think if you listen to them, you respect them, you really take into account what they're saying, people just want to be heard. And I think that's one of the beauties about a leadership contest. It's that you can meet people and make sure that you integrate those ideas in a policy platform. It becomes your platform, and we'll be ready by the 1st of September, 2027.
Well, things did break down, though, in Francophone New Brunswick for the PCs. And you've kind of admitted you've got to rebuild that. And there are previous examples that you've raised, like Bernard Lord, who had a very good mix of people. The mix is not there now. I mean, you've got a bench now that is rather Higgsian in the caucus currently.
Well, I think we have right now. We have, I think, 16 caucus members. We just elected Kevin Russell from Miramichi West. What a great individual. We've got 16 great people. To your point, primarily from rural New Brunswick.
Right.
We have only one from urban New Brunswick. Michelle Conroy represents Miramichi. I think Leader Savoy represents a little bit of St. John, but it's 4 or 5 polls. Ryan Cullens, Fredericton, New York, I think 6, 7 polls, I think. So it's primarily, that's where we have to grow. It's in urban New Brunswick. Definitely reconnect with the Francophone New Brunswick. But make sure that we keep the seats we have also. So I think, look, that's where, in my 5-point plan, the 49-seat strategy is so important, that we make sure that we have strong representation in each riding. That, there's some ridings, I think, right now, they don't have even a riding president or some type of organization. So we have to make sure that we improve that. So, look, we can always find the negatives, but we need to move forward as a party, united, and making sure we have right people in the right places to organize, and making sure that we're ready for the 1st of September, 2027.
So I have a question on your membership. So what are you doing to attract younger voters to vote for PC, or at least in this case, join the membership of the PC party? Because it's not like they're really super stoked about fiscal responsibility in government, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree. And I think when you look and you do an analysis of the last election, I think we can learn a little bit from the Conservative Party of Canada, whereas I think we have to be more savvy in social media. You know, communication isn't done just by reading the newspaper anymore or watching TV. You have to be part of your mobile phone is actually an extension of you. So you have to go through different mediums. And to your point, subject matter is important. I think for young individuals, young people that I've seen this weekend, jobs is very important. I think the unemployment levels for people under 21 or 25 is the highest it's been, I think, in 5-6 years. So that's worrisome for me. I have a daughter of 21 and 19 years old, so two daughters in that, in the C generation, we would call them, that are on social media. I talked about BNI the other day, Brunswick News. They say, "What's that, Dad?" So that was really interesting. So they don't get their news or their messaging the traditional way. So we have to evolve. I think AI is definitely helping us at the same time, but it's really important also to understand where youth, their views are coming from. And again, when I sit down with young people, they just want to be part of the process and invited. So that's why for me it was important even to invite. It's easy to invite just PC members, but this weekend we invited some young people that were really interested I had one from University of New Brunswick and one from University of Moncton that wanted to do political groups on campus. That's the first time somebody ever actually asked me to do that. So that's great. So if we can have that discussion, because as a politician, I would go on campus and, put my banner bugs there and start talking to people. I think we got to do that even more. And I think it's important to have that conversation with young people, but it's to make sure that they're invited at the table at the same time and they can have a real say in what happens. Because once your young people and your 35 to 45 that really haven't been in tune in politics these days are at the table, it changes the whole conversation at the same time.
So when the Higgs government was in the last couple of years, they drifted socially very much to the right. And you saw, the embracing of very policies that you normally would associate with Alberta or very, more right-wing governments. And that was kind of something different for New Brunswick. And a lot of people kind of had a falling out, and I think you admitted you had a bit of a falling out there at that stage. So the Liberals came in and they've kind of occupied the center-left on a lot of these issues. Where do you see yourself falling, and where do you see yourself in terms of the current Liberal Party?
What I'm surprised is I think the Liberal honeymoon's over so early. As you indicated, I've worked for 3 PC governments, and never that at this juncture that the electorate was so hyper political. You look at unemployment numbers. I'm going to say it again. The education discussions to no end. Asking where the minister is on questions. Où est Claire? So that's fascinating to hear. Public security. Wow. There's a group in Moncton a group of people in business that are advocating a new program which is called Enough is Enough. Nothing's changed.
You mean that's like homelessness?
Homelessness, public security, just
crime
is rising. The homelessness numbers are rising, and I think over-promising, under-delivering. So just by the nature of itself, I think the PC party in New Brunswick can position itself as a center-right party. I think we've always been a center-right party. I look at Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland last week, the 3 PC governments in Atlantic Canada that are really strong. So if we can position ourselves and align themselves on the same thing, because people want to talk about issues that matter to them today. And I think when you look at Tony Wakem, what he just said last week, pocketbook issues, healthcare, education, and the economy are the issues that's what people talked about during the Newfoundland election, and that's what people are talking about today. So let's talk about those issues. Let's try to provide discussions to New Brunswickers during this leadership process. And I think by default, the PC party will be better positioned to handle these files if we have the privilege to attain government at one point.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are a little more moderate than what we've experienced.
Look, I'm socially progressive, fiscally conservative, but I have a little conservative in me also. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I have my private values and policy issues, but I want to take the time to talk to New Brunswickers to see how we can position within the PC party. To your point, we have a great caucus, a strong caucus right now that are going to be questioning government in the next couple of weeks. So, you work with that. You work with caucus, but the PC party also needs to renew, to rebuild.
Well,
that's important too.
I think that kind of was my point. Was maybe the caucus was a little old, and maybe did need to be rebuilt. I think that was more my point. But
they're not that old.
Well, it's just,
great people there.
Yeah,
great young people too.
Yeah, but they're all very associated with the Higgs government, and I think that is kind of. Although you're trying to look past it a bit, there is a little bit of need for reckoning there in terms of what was done and admitting that yes, mistakes were made. Particularly, I think at the consultation part of people, and I think that's where your platform kind of speaks to it, that you do need a renewal of new members. You need to engage those people, and you need to have a policy convention where you get some real ideas forward and not just the ideas of
100%. And I know time is, but to progressive conservatives out there, to the membership, I know that some people have been discouraged, but let's rebuild our party to remind what progressive conservatism is all about. I think it's sound management and sound social compassion. And to everyone listening to us today, whether you're conservative, liberal, or green, or not at all sometimes, the message for me to you today is you don't have to agree with me on everything, but you just need to believe that politics can still be about service and not self-interest, and a government should listen, respect, and deliver. So Tim, that's really important that New Brunswickers feel they have a place in the PC party and that everyone can have a place in the PC party.
Okay. So, Caitlin, you have time for one more zinger here.
Sure, one more.
You give him one more good zinger to get him out on.
All right. So, last question. In your opinion, what did Higgs do well, and what would you do differently?
Look, I think when we talked about the 3 governments, but the last government, on fiscal responsibility, we took it seriously. The Liberal leader today, at her lunch or supper last year of the Leader's Supper, she emphatically said in front of everyone that she was going to have balanced budgets. So when you overpromise and underdeliver, there has to be some type of reckoning. And for myself, I'll always be proud to be part of a government, the Higgs government. On the fiscal responsibility, we did good things. How can we improve? Well, again, it's making sure that New Brunswickers feel they can be part of the PC party. I have a 5-point plan of increasing membership, making sure that we have better fundraising, making sure we have a PC party that communicates with our membership, making sure we have a 49 and 49 strategy, because it's important to have great representation in their 49 ridings And we have a strong policy convention in the spring of 27 so people can discuss new ideas and bring new innovative ideas to the forefront.
I think one of the things we kind of glossed over there, but we kind of talked about the issues going on in the States, but I think it's really important for the provincial government to work hand in hand with the federal government and to have that working relationships where they share costs, because a small province like ours, we get a lot of money from the federal government if we participate in the cooperation type of agreements. And I think that's one of the things we saw Higgs kind of shy back from. We didn't see him invest in some of those cooperation agreements quite to the extent that he could have. Do you see, where do you think our role with the federal government is?
Well, I think firm but fair. I think that's what it is. To work with Ottawa, I think it's standing up for New Brunswickers. It's focusing on results and not any drama. Because there's a lot of drama down south right now, but we have to work with partners, and like I said, it's about respect, collaboration, we understand each priorities, because not each government has the same priorities sometimes, and you have to come. And our greatest strength is the PC party is balance. It's making sure we have that balance. So, for myself, let's focus on New Brunswick. Let's share our principles, but make sure that we are collaborative and not sometimes combative.
Yeah. Do you think we need a lot of investment in infrastructure in New Brunswick, like, our roads, our buildings, that sort of thing?
Well, we always have to continue to make sure we have some type of investments. But at the same time, if we don't grow our economy, we can invest in healthcare and education. There's important things like that. And if we don't take care of the pocketbook issues, well, guess what? We won't be getting more revenues at the government level. So to your point, it's trying to find that balance. Investing in roads is important, but investing in people is as important, or even maybe more important too, because if we don't have strong healthcare and education and post-secondary education, we could be in trouble.
Yeah. What do you think about healthcare? Like, what kind of ideas do you have?
Well,
there?
That's where I can't wait to get on the road under the leadership and talk to New Brunswickers to see what type of issues they want to talk about. And look, we can talk about healthcare, education, local governance reform, energy. That's a big one these days. But again, I think let's take this leadership process to talk to New Brunswickers to see how they feel. For myself, it's back to my 5-point plan to get these members and get them right. And let's have a policy convention in 2027.
All right.
I think he's going to make us wait until the policy convention.
He's pretty focused, isn't he? He's got his focus. We're not gonna get him to stray.
Not stray away from those 5 points.
No, that's fine. All right. So we've been with Danielle Lau. Thank you very much, Danielle. We
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming in. Those 45 minutes just ripped by, did they not?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. All right. So good luck to you, and we'll see you again, maybe as. Maybe as
after
leader.
Christmas.
Maybe as leader.
I'll
Yeah.
come back after Christmas.
Yeah.
See you then.
All right.
All right,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Soundbite, a production of Porter O'Brien and CHSR 97.9 FM. Special thanks to our podcast host, CHSR, our sound editor, March Rojas Velasquez, as well as Adam Porter, who provided our theme music. You can find all our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Music under Soundbite. You can also follow and support us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Soundbite Podcast.